bus. Resolution. And we recommend adopting the attached resolution to authorize the purchase of 2021 budgeted bus from North Central Bus Sales of St. Cloud at a total cost of $92,637, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by O'Day, second by Pritchett. Any questions or discussion? Any questions or discussion? Hearing none. Administrator Bergman, please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yep.
Pritchett?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
O'Day?
Yes.
Stunek? And Bevins?
Yes, that resolution is adopted. Please proceed.
Next item was approval of final pay application for the 2021 street striping project. This is a contract between us and the Crow Wing County. We budget about $10,000 a year. We do this biannually. But we recommend approval of the final payment to Crow Wing County for the improvement 21-04-2021 street striping in the total amount of $18,160.19. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by O'Day, a second by Erickson. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
Next item is the resolution supporting safe routes for school grant application submission. We talked about this a little, I believe it was the last meeting, or the last couple meetings. This is basically an application for a grant, and it's asking for the maximum amount, $500,000. And this is based on the project in front of Harrison School on Oak Street with the bump outs, crosswalks, lit crosswalks, and the what is it you call them, Paul? RFRPs. So, motion coming out of staff is to recommend adopting the attached resolution in which supports the SRTS infrastructure project and submission of the grant application. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by O'Day, second by Pritchett. Any discussion?
One brief
Tad.
comment.
Yes.
Just with my day job at Region 5, I work closely with MnDOT and the Safe Routes project. So I support the project, but I'm going to abstain given that connection.
Thank you. Any further discussion? I'm going to let Mr. O'Day go first. and
It's
then-
probably the same thing the mayor was gonna say, but they did bring this to the school district, and the school district was in approval of this design.
Thank you. That covered it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Hearing none, Administrator Bergman, please call the roll.
Johnson? Pritchett?
Yes.
Erickson?
Abstain.
O'Day?
Yes.
Stunek?
Yes.
Bevins?
Yes, that resolution is adopted. Please proceed.
All right, item 6, this is another set of resolutions. These are municipal consent for CSAH 117 mill overlay and CSAH 5 and 49 roundabout. So these are a couple of county projects that are happening within the city of Brainerd. One being the roundabout at Wise Road and Beaver Dam Road to happen next year. And the other one is the TC Road through our industrial park from Business 371 to County Road 45, which is just a general mill and overlay. The county is trying to coordinate how to do that at the same time that we're redoing, MnDOT is redoing Business 371 at the same time. So, but they think they can get it done. And if anybody has any questions for that on the council, we do have Steve Stroshine in the audience tonight. But coming out of committee, we had 3 different motions on these, one for approval of each project and then one having to do with a parking ban during the project. So item 1 is to adopt a resolution approving a project within the city of Brainerd Municipal Corporate Limits, SAP 018-605-013/018-649-009, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by O'Day, a second by Erickson. Any questions on the first resolution approving the project? Any questions at all? Hearing none, Administrator Bergman, please call the roll.
Johnson?
Please record my vote in the affirmative.
Pritchett? Erickson.
Yes.
O'Day.
Yes.
Stunek. And Bevins.
Dash affirmative.
Thank you.
Second motion, coming out of committee, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
Is to adopt a resolution approving a project within the city of Brainerd, Municipal Corporate Limits, SAP 18-117-05. I so move.
Second.
Motion by O'Day, second by Erickson. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, Administrator Bergman, please call the roll.
Johnson.
Yes.
Pritchett.
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
O'Day.
Yes.
Stunek. And Bevins.
Yes, that motion is adopted. Please proceed.
Third motion in this item is to adopt a resolution which bans parking within the project limits of SAP, and then that long number again, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by O'Day, second by Erickson. Any discussion? Any discussion on the banning of parking? Yes.
Basically, it's keeping the area safe and keeping people from parking in a construction zone during the construction. It is the full roundabout.
Can't park anywhere in the roundabout.
Not until it's done.
And then you can't park there then either.
Yes. Paul Sandy.
So that resolution is a parking ban after the project is constructed. There will be no parking within the project limits of that roundabout. It's a state aid requirement that
Wait, but you can park there during the construction?
we advise against it.
backwards.
Somebody's gonna park there. Just watch.
This
Either way, I
clarifies.
still move.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Administrator Bergman, please call the roll.
Johnson.
Yes.
Pritchett. Erickson.
Yes.
O'Day.
Yes.
Stunek. And Bevins.
Yes, that resolution is adopted. Please proceed.
The last and final item of our meeting tonight was revisiting our streetlight policy for selected fixture costs. We directed staff to come up with a new standard decorative streetlight. We did not come down to having a motion to decide on this one tonight. As a committee, the cost did come up a little bit higher than what we had expected. And rather than rushing into a decision on committing to one of these lights, we're going to do a little bit more research, see if we can find something that's in between, somewhat a little bit more cost effective, and as well as compare what our costs will be with BPU in next year's projects compared to using our regular standard lights this year. End of report.
No motion on the last one.
Correct.
Okay, that ends Safety and Public Works. Next up is 7B, Personal and Finance Committee, Chairman Gabe Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have 14 quick items that our committee of two rolled right through tonight. The first one is Community Service Officer's resignation and request to hire. The motion is to accept with regret the resignation of Community Service Officers Carter Davis, effective November 26, 2021, and Joshua Schuler, effective December 3rd, 2021, and further to authorize the hiring of two Community Service Officers at the starting rate of $14 per hour, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. 13 more to go.
Yeah, thank you. The next is ratification of hiring of Community Service Officer Mason Barton, and the motion is to ratify the hiring of Community Service Officer Mason Barton starting at $14 per hour with an effective start date of November 24th, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you. The next motion is to ratify the hiring of Taylor Locker for Parks Maintenance position. He likes to go by TJ, so we're going to ratify the hiring of TJ Lockhurst effective December 6, 2021. Further, that he be placed on step one of the Park Maintenance wage grid of $19.98 per hour, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Please proceed. That motion carries.
Thank you. This next is approval of a memorandum of agreement for the HR assistant position we are adding next year. And the motion is to approve the attached memorandum of agreement between the City of Brainerd and the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Number 31, on behalf of the Administrative Support Bargaining Unit, setting the 2021-22 wages for the HR assistant position, while realizing slight tweaks may still occur during the negotiation process, as it hasn't been approved by the union yet. Further, if substantial changes are requested by the union, an updated MOA will be presented to the council for consideration at our December 20th. And I so move.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you. Next up is the approval of the Teamsters contract, and the motion is to approve the attached 2022 through 2024 tentative agreement summary and the attached contract supporting documents between the city and Teamsters General Local Union number 346, representing the police sergeants and lieutenants, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Any discussion? Mr. Chairman?
This is what we've been negotiating for the last few months, and what we all know, the 2.5% cost of living, and this is it. This is the final 2 votes we'll have on it.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Hearing none. Administrator Bergman, please call the roll.
Johnson?
This is a motion, not the resolution. We have 2 action items on this.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. The second action item here is to adopt the attached resolution setting the Teamsters General Local number 346 wages for 2022 through 2024, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Any discussion on the resolution? Any discussion on the resolution? Administrator Bergman, please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Pritchett?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
O'Day?
Yes.
Stunek?
Yes.
And Bevins?
Yes, that resolution is adopted. Please proceed.
The next one is the setting our department heads and supervisors' wages, and the motion is to adopt the resolution setting the 2022-2023 wages for the city administrator, department heads, and non-union supervisors as presented, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Any discussion? Chairman Johnson.
This was as discussed, 2.5% COLAs each year, no market adjustments. We'll address that in 2023.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none. Administrator Bergman, please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Pritchett?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
O'Day?
Yes.
Stunek?
Yes.
And Bevins?
Yes, that resolution is adopted. Please proceed.
Thank you. The next one is a resolution setting the wages for the police chief and deputy police chief positions, and the motion is to adopt the resolution setting the 2022 through 2024 wages for police chief and deputy police chief, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Chairman Johnson.
As we had discussed in previous meetings, that with the market adjustments we gave to the sergeants and the officers, there was some crunching up in the higher ups, so we had to give a little bump for the deputy police chief and the police chief. But with these wages, everything should be fine and dandy in the police department for the next few years.
Just thought I might just peek over there. Fine and dandy.
Well, he got-
Motion by
he got a
Johnson,
bump.
Booyah.
second by Booyah Stunek. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. Administrator Bergman, please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Pritchett?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
O'Day?
Yes.
Stunek?
Yep.
And Bevins?
Yes, we're halfway, Mr. Johnson. Do you need a break?
Cruising, no, I got it.
All right, let's go.
All right. Next up is the updated organizational chart for the city of Brainerd, and the motion is to approve the updated organizational chart as presented.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Any discussion? Any discussion at all? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
And we have a second motion. I probably should have done these together, huh, Sunik?
Probably.
Needed the break. I needed the break. The next motion is to, I move to approve the official title change for our current city engineer to city engineer / public works director, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Any discussion?
Gonna need more plaques.
Yeah, we're gonna need more plaques over there.
Smaller font.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you. Next up is a resolution to accept undistributed ARPA funds, and the motion is to adopt the attached resolution to accept the redistribution of unrequested coronavirus local fiscal recovery fund established under the American Rescue Plan Act, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Any discussion, Chairman Johnson?
So the local recovery funds is the 1.4 million and change the city got, but every local organization, city, municipality, township had to request money from the state. Some people didn't. So then they distributed it amongst everybody else who did request. We requested, some people didn't. We're getting an additional $23,275 this year and the same next year.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Administrator Bergman, please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Pritchett?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
O'Day? Yes. Stunek?
Yes.
And Bevins?
Yes, that resolution is adopted. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you. The next one was a discussion item, and it's the non-working funds budget that Connie presented to us. And that includes the transit fund. You might want to keep an eye on that. They got a burn rate of their reserves that they only got about 7 years left and they'll cease to exist. So they got some fixing to do there. We also have the library fund, the recycling fund, parking lots, the parking lot funds. We'll talk about those later. Permanent improvement fund, mayor's contingency fund, sanitary sewer, storm sewer. If you have any questions, Connie is still out, but she will be able to answer them. Maybe she's on the screen. She is there. Doesn't look like we have any questions for you, Connie. Next up.
Just officially ask any questions for Connie? No, please proceed.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Next up is an update on the OSHA COVID Emergency Temporary Standard Policy. And the update is, the federal government was sued for it being an unconstitutional or illegal order, and it's currently working its way through the federal court system. And League of Minnesota Cities said, well, maybe wait and don't do anything until we figure out what's happening. But we have a motion out of committee to direct staff to just ignore the order forever, and I so move.
Second.
To ignore it forever?
That was the motion.
I'd like to speak to the motion.
Okay. Chairman Johnson.
Yeah, we don't like to, it's a highly political, highly charged topic. We have employees who have expressed concerns that they may quit if we have to implement this. I just want to say to our employees, we're not going to implement this. If it does, I told Chris she could keep one eye on it if she wanted, and if it does actually make it through the courts. But I don't really want to hear about it until all that's done. But I just want to signal to our employees that we hear their concerns, that they are worried, and I don't want to lose a good employee over a bad public policy. So that's why I made the motion.
I have a question.
Yep.
What about an OSHA lawsuit?
$14,000 per occurrence per day. So, or it'd be per week. So yeah, we'd be on the hook for
Million.
millions and millions and millions if OSHA decided to attack little old city of Brainerd.
Okay. Any further discussion? I think I'll probably vote against this.
Mike?
Just being a business owner and having to deal with OSHA, it's not fun. Okay?
I'll speak to it, just to let you know, I'll support this motion. I agree with it 100%, and there's probably some people that don't, and I guarantee you I feel more strongly my way than you do.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Yep, no, you might be breaking.
Okay. Hearing none? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Aye. And that motion passes. Please proceed.
Okay, that brings us to a resolution to transfer of Development District Number 2 to the EDA. And the motion is to adopt the attached resolution transferring Development District 2 to the EDA, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Any discussion? Chairman Johnson, thank you.
So as you'll see in the next couple items, we have some letters of intent to consider that are up for some parcels of land in the industrial park. The industrial park is located in Development District Number 2, but just as a formality, we never transferred authority or control to the EDA of the Development District, so that's what we're doing right now.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none. Minister Bergman, please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Pritchett?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
O'Day?
Yes.
Stunek?
Yes.
And Bevins?
Yes, please proceed. That resolution is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next one is a consideration of a letter of intent from B&D Power Solutions. This was sent to the EDA, and they had a recommendation. And the motion is to adopt the attached resolution conveying to the EDA for sale Lot 1, Block 2, Lot 1, Block 3, Brainerd Industrial Park, First Edition, Crow Wing County, Minnesota, to B&D Power Solutions, LLC, at a purchase price to be negotiated with the buyer per the terms of the letter of intent dated November 18th, 2021, and I so move.
Second.
I have a motion by Johnson, a second by Stunek. Any discussion? Yes, Mr. Pritchett.
Are there any safeguards as far as power usage for the citizens of Brainerd with this?
Yes, Scott and Todd aren't here, but it will have its own connection, so it won't affect us at all. But there will also be safeguards that if they are the first ones to be shut off if something occurs.
Okay.
So our residents will be safe from any interruptions.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Last chance, any further discussion? Hearing none. This is an attached resolution. Mr. Bergman, please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Pritchett?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
O'Day?
Yes.
Stunek?
Yes.
And Bevins?
Yes, that resolution is adopted. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And the EDA actually received 2 letters of intent to purchase land in the industrial park. So it's been an exciting month in the EDA for Brainerd. And the motion here is to adopt the attached resolution conveying to the EDA for sale lots 7 and 8, Block 1, and lots 3 and 4, Block 4, Brainerd Industrial Park, First Edition, Crow Wing County, Minnesota, to Cloud Properties LLC at a purchase price to be negotiated with the buyer per the terms of the letter of intent dated November 24th, 2021, and I so move.
Second.
I have a motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Any discussion? Mr. Pritchett.
So I can assume that they would be the second to be shut off after B and D?
Simultaneous.
Okay.
And we do have the power to, BPU has the capacity to provide both. So it's win-win-win. We all get what we ask for.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Any last chance? Any discussion? Hearing none. Administrator Bergman, please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Pritchett?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
O'Day?
Yes.
Stunek?
Yes.
And Bevins?
Yes, that resolution is adopted, Mr. Chair.
End of report.
Nicely done. Item 8 is unfinished business. Item 8A is the final reading of proposed ordinance 1522, an ordinance repealing section 30513 of the Brainerd City Code to discontinue the Joint Police and Civil Service Commission. This comes under our HR Director Schubert. Anything you wish to add to what's in our packet, Chris?
Nothing else to add.
Okay. Any questions of the HR department? Hearing none, the first part of this is to hold a public hearing. So it is 8:20, and we will open the public hearing on proposed ordinance 1522. If you're here to discuss the repealing and dissolution of the Joint Police and Fire Civil Service Commission, now is your time to speak. I'll ask a second time, if you're here to speak on ordinance 1522, now's your time to speak. And if you're online and you wish to speak on one of these items, and we've got a few this evening, you'll hit *3, and that will notify our IT director who's running the board tonight that you want to speak. And when you're called upon, *6 will allow you to speak. Last chance on proposed ordinance 1522, and we will close the public hearing at 8:22 on item 8A. And we will look for a motion to hold and dispense the final reading of proposed ordinance number 1522, an ordinance discontinuing the Joint Fire and Police Civil Service Commission. I'll remind you that this must be unanimous, or we are going to hold the entire and read the entire ordinance. Is there a motion?
So move, Johnson.
Second.
By Johnson, second by Stunek. Any discussion on the reading of the ordinance? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. That motion carries. The next item is to adopt proposed ordinance 1522, an ordinance discontinuing the Joint Fire and Police Civil Service Commission. Is there a motion to hold that?
So moved.
Motion by Pritchett,
Second.
second by Erickson. Any questions on adopting the ordinance? Any at all? Hearing none, Administrator Bergman, please call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Pritchett?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
O'Day?
Yes.
Stunek?
Yes.
And Bevins?
Yes, that motion is adopted, or that ordinance is adopted. Next up is are we on item 8?
8B.
8A 8B is a proposed ordinance amending the city charter. I'm going to remind you that because not everybody is here, when we get to the third item, which is the ordinance by roll call, we'll be looking for a motion to postpone this to the next meeting, because we can't vote on it, because not everybody's here. Right, Mr. Attorney? That is correct. But we can hold and dispense the actual reading, we can hold the public hearing. Will we want to continue the public hearing as well? No, we can close that tonight. All right, so the first agenda item on this is to hold and dispense with the actual reading of the final reading. Is there a motion to do so?
So move, Johnson.
Motion by Johnson, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Pritchett. Any discussion on the actual reading? Any discussion on the actual reading? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up is we're gonna open the public hearing.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I may, give 30 seconds of background before you open the public hearing?
Love to hear, could you make it longer?
No, I can be very brief. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the council. On November 10th, the Charter Commission did consider revisions to Chapter 6, the Public Utilities Commission. At the last city council meeting, at your first reading of the ordinance, Attorney Langle did go through each one of those recommended changes. We are happy to answer any questions if you have additional questions on that. The first reading was held on November 15th, and so this would be then the public hearing and the second reading of the ordinance. And as you mentioned, Mr. Chair, to postpone this because not all 7 members are present. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we will now open the public hearing at 8:24. And if you're here to speak on the charter amendments before the council this evening, now's your chance. If you're here to speak on the charter, on ordinance, proposed ordinance 1523, which is amending the city charter, now's your chance. And the last call, and we will close the public hearing at 8:25. As your representative of the Charter Commission, as Jennifer Bergman just said, what we're really trying to do with all of these amendments is make the charter reflect what we actually do. A lot of the charter was written a long, long time ago, before even Steve Clow was around. I mean, it's a long time ago. And things have changed, how we do things, and we want to reflect so the two match. So this one deals with public utilities. So the last thing we need to do, we can't adopt the ordinance, but we'd like to have a motion to postpone the adoption of the ordinance until, what's the actual date, Mr. Bergman?
No, December 20th.
December 20th. So we're looking for that motion. So motion by O'Day, is there a second? Second by Erickson. Any discussion on the postponement? Any discussion on the postponement? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. So we will postpone that to the next meeting in December. Item C. Are you ready, Mr. Mayor?
I'm always ready.
The call for applicants.
Oh, it is the moment you've all been waiting for. And before I get started, I'm just going to say there are a lot of people sitting in this audience right now. And what we're about to do is ask people to join committees, which is how this city gets things done. You clearly all have a vested interest in the city of Brainerd, and I only see a handful of you that I know are sitting on committees currently. So I'm looking directly at some of you, right in your eyeballs, as I call out for the request for the following applicants. Applications are available at the city's website, www.ci.brainerd.mn.us. The following committees are in need of members. Cable TV Advisory Committee, 1 term expiring 2021, 1 term expiring 2022, 1 term expiring 2024. Charter Commission, 1 term expiring 2022, 1 term expiring 2025. Housing Redevelopment Authority, 1 term expiring 2022 and 1 term expiring 2026. Rental Dwelling License Board of Appeals, 3 terms expiring 2022. as well as the Transportation Committee, Advisory Committee, 1 term expiring 2022 and 3 terms expiring 2023. If you heard Mr. Johnson over there, they are in need of guidance. So that money is not an issue. We also have the Economic Development Authority, 1 term expiring 2026 and 1 term expiring 2027.
I almost thought you were gonna suggest we lock the doors. Nobody leaves till they're on a committee.
We only spent $5,000 on buses, so hopefully we should be okay.
As council committee, I've got a couple committees to recommend. The Airport Commission has 1 term open to expire in 2024. Planning Commission, 1 term expires in 2023 and 2 terms expiring in 2024. And the Police and Fire Civil Service Commission has just been disbanded. There's also an ad hoc committee. The Water Tower Committee has 2 positions available. Next up, item 9, new business, item 9A, consideration of the Parking Commission recommendations. Mr. Chansky, this comes under you. Is there anything you'd like to add or to start us off with on the Parking Commission recommendations?
Yep, just very quickly, Mr. Chair. Again, these are the recommendations that were presented in a workshop to the City Council on October 25th. At that meeting, the council wanted staff to bring this formally before the council for you to give some direction to staff. And you also had indicated that you wanted to receive public comment. So staff went ahead and did notice that you would like to receive public comment this evening. So we just encourage you to begin by receiving public comment for those that are here. You also handed out some comment that I received. And then after you receive public comment, we'll seek some direction from the council for action moving forward.
Excellent. So, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna open up and receive public comment. So if you're here to speak on the Parking Commission's recommendations, you will get a chance to be heard. I'm going to, before I ask for, and if you're online, you're gonna be heard. Before I call anybody who wishes to speak forward, I'm just gonna note that we did receive some comments via email. And I'm just gonna notify, become a part of public record that we've received these, so you know that what you sent has been received. It doesn't prohibit you from speaking this evening. You can still come up and talk. But we received comment from Jeffrey Chesak, from Charles Wade, from Ed Mattson, a couple of emails. That would be from Ed Mink. Who else did we get? I don't want to miss anybody. Dave Perringer. Am I missing anybody? That appears to be a response. Sarah Hayden Shaw. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again from Dave Perringer, a second one. Larry Potter, concerned citizen, and there's the Sarah Hayden Shaw. So those we have received. They are available for anybody who wants to read them. I'm not going to read them all this evening. And if you're in the audience or online, and remember online *3, so we can recognize that you wish to speak, and then *6 when it's your turn to speak. We're going to start with anybody in the audience. You do, we do insist that you state your name and your address. So anybody who's here knows who you are. So please come forward now and let us know what you think of the Parking Commission recommendations. Come on, come on up, Matt.
Thank you. Matt Killian, I'm the president of the Brainerd Lakes Chamber of Commerce at 224 West Washington Street. And I just want to, first of all, say thank you to both the Parking Commission and the City Council for not only allowing us to comment as a business community, but also making some extra effort, with Administrator Brigman and Community Development Director Chansky, inviting us to actually share this with our membership and invite comment that way. So hopefully some of the people are in the audience tonight, and the messages that you received were on behalf of our members as well. You know, when you think about back, 5, 6 years ago when we first started that Destination Downtown contest, the landscape was much different than it is now. We had over 20 empty storefronts in that downtown core. We were looking for sparks of revitalization. And I think what we have right now is not full-blown revitalization. Certainly, I don't think it's where everybody wants it to be. But I think what we have right now is an ember. The ember is glowing, but it's fragile. So as we look at parking recommendations, specifically parking meter implementation, I think it's good to be prudent to do a do no harm type of approach when you're looking at the recommendations tonight. We shared that, the chamber shared that through its communications last Friday. Since then, my weekend email and cell phone blew up. I spent most of the day talking to business owners about the parking, the specific, I think, recommendation number 2, parking meters. And I think most people are really excited that the city is taking an interest in the issue. But I know that people see it more as a concern and less as a crisis. So if you're keeping score, I've talked to 16 business owners. 14 are opposed or have deep concerns about it, and 2 are in favor. And I just want to really quickly just give you the list of people I talked to, mostly today. Big Bob's Pizza Arcade, Bremer Bank, Bridge of Harmony, Cattails Books, Cocoa Moon, Crowing Food Co-op, E.L. Mank Jewelers, Fancy Pants Chocolates, Lloyd A. Oil and Vinegars, Minnesota Makerspace, Peringer Investments, Sage on Laurel, The Gallery, and the Old Open Window. And so for those businesses who aren't here today, here's basically what they want me to share with you. Their biggest competitor right now is not each other, it's convenience. So they're competing against the convenience of online shopping. They're competing against the convenience of national chains, national retailers, national restaurants. And so they don't really want anything that would become a deterrent or an inhibitor to that convenient shopping experience. So they believe that parking meters would be a major deterrent to their customers, especially the ones that are just starting to explore downtown, or maybe just are the accidental customers that may come down there. They feel like that could be a deterrent. Some are concerned about parking options for their own employees because you just don't know where else they can send them to park, given that there are waiting lists at the other lots. And then I would just say, generally speaking, people are just getting their breath now. They survived the COVID crisis. You have a lot of younger business owners, first-time business owners down there, and they're all dealing with workforce issues as well, as we all know. So I would say that just overall, the chamber believes that these businesses know best how their customers are going to react to environmental changes. I think it's overwhelmingly in opposition of parking meters, and so that's what I'm passing along to you, and I'm sure you're going to hear much more tonight. So thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate it, and if we can be of service, we certainly will be. Thanks.
Thanks for coming forward. Who would like to go next? Please, come on up. Hi, Sarah, come on up.
Hello. Sarah Hayden Shaw, and I'm at, do you want my business or the home address?
And either one, but you
They're both in Brainerd. 521 North 9th Street is my home address. And I have business in downtown Brainerd, a restaurant, Sage on Laurel. And I did send my message, or my thoughts in, so I won't read all of that back again today, but I will add I will summarize a little bit of what it is. I have a lot of doubts on even the fiscal sensibility of this. When I run some numbers, I have a lot of background in doing budgets and budget forecasting, and I tried to pull together some numbers based on what I could find on the costs of these programs. And for a 10-year projection on the costs of these, I came up with, and I'm sure it's not completely accurate, but I got as accurate as I could, about $350,000 of expenses. On the flip side, looking at what revenues these would come in at, about $280,000. So I don't think for a city or a project the size of ours, it's even going to make sense. It's not going to bring revenue in. I think we're going to wind up, if we do this, paying money for the privilege of charging people to park in front of our businesses, which to me is just astoundingly bad idea. Okay. I understand the theory behind it. I understand the academic part, the theoretical part about free parking not necessarily being a good thing. I understand that people have a gross misperception about the value of parking and how much it costs and the value of it. I understand that, and I understand that theory behind it, but we're not going to fix that by metering downtown Brainerd. We're not going to fix everybody's perception about it by doing that. And I, for one, would like to not be one of 2 restaurants in 80-mile radius that has metered parking in front of my restaurant. You would be putting me as a business owner in downtown Brainerd at a disadvantage over all the other regional restaurants that I'm competing with. So I very much hope that you know, kind of let this idea die and it doesn't come up again. It would be great if it didn't. You know, I know that revenues can come from this in a bigger city because when you've got thousands of these parking meters, you can get some good revenue out of it. But it's economy of scale. At a small level like this, we're talking 100, 150 meters probably. It's just not going to make financial sense. So please, that's my plea on the parking meters. Please don't do that to us, downtown business owners. Please don't do that to us. And then the other thing I just wanted to put out there too is just on the first point. This isn't even about parking meters. On the first point about the leased parking, I think that the plan that they came up with is sensible for the leased parking, raising the prices to make sure it covers city's costs. That's great. I just recommend please tie it to like the consumer price index or something reasonable, not just an automatic 5% increase every year. That doesn't, you know, be a little more sensitive to the pricing, tie it to what the actual costs are on it. But okay, that's it. Thanks.
Thanks for coming forward. Who's next? Come on up.
I guess I am.
Perfect.
Becky LaPlante, Peringer Investments, 616.5 Front Street, Brainerd. So on the parking meters, which is what most people are going to talk about, downtown St. Cloud, I spend a lot of time in St. Cloud. I had to go down to the courthouse. You have to pay for parking for the courthouse. I'm digging all over looking for change, no change. So they now have the app. I download the app, get my location in, and I dig out my credit card, put the credit card in. Now we're 5 minutes into this already. And I'm really good with technology, so, you know, doing this isn't a problem for me, but for most people it would be. And it still took me time finding the app, downloading it, getting my stuff in. And so finally pay for it. It winds up being twice the amount as putting in my quarter for 15 minutes. I had to pay 55 cents for 15 minutes. I think it's because the app costs more, or maybe running my credit card or whatever, but it cost me more. So now I do have this app on my phone. One of my favorite restaurants in St. Cloud is downtown, Jules Bistro. I don't go there because it is a pain in the butt, even with the app. Digging my phone out, finding the app, getting the parking spot. It's just easier to drive a couple more blocks and go somewhere else, even though Jules Bistro, great cake. But yeah, you know. But it is just easier. So like Sarah said, it puts, you know, the businesses, the restaurants especially, at a disadvantage. You drive 2 more blocks, you can park for free, and it isn't just the cost, it's the pain in the butt of doing it all. Now, the other stuff on here, we have a lot of tenants in downtown Brainerd that use these parking spots. And these parking spots, well, these tenants are the people that work hard. These are the people that are working the Walmarts, the Targets, the gas stations. All through the pandemic, these were our essential workers. They did not get laid off. They did not get fired. They worked every day through the pandemic. Now, none of them are making tons and tons of money. So when you're jacking up their parking space by $25, that's a lot of money for a lot of these people. Oh, and I don't think they deserve that. I can see a small raise, $5, something like that, but the reality is the numbers that they put out there are the parking is already covered. It's not losing money. Yes, one lot is, but the others are all making money. You don't need to, you know, jack these rents way up on this to make money off the backs of our essential workers. Now, you know, we have something that a lot of towns envy, which is naturally occurring below market rate housing, which is very, very rare. And we have that in the downtown. And these people aren't being subsidized. Out of our 60 units downtown, we had 1 unit that applied for state rent help. So all of these people pay taxes, pay rents, and those rents that the residential ones pay, those are the ones that cover the taxes for those buildings. As all of you know, our taxes downtown, you know, non-homesteaded commercial taxes down there are very high, plus all of the different fees we pay. Why we love our commercial tenants, they create the atmosphere downtown. Our residential tenants, those are the people that pay the bills. If we lose those people due to high parking rates or parking meters, where you come downtown to look at an apartment and you have to pay a meter just to look at an apartment, I'm going to have parents of kids that are going to CLC saying, wait, I gotta pay just to go look at this apartment? We're not doing this, let's go somewhere else. Else we're going to lose tenants downtown. And if our places empty out due to that, we're going to have trouble paying those taxes. As, let's see, what are their other, and I know they did a hard job, you know, worked hard on this and did as much as they could on it. Requiring new parking spots for every single thing created. So does this mean if Ed Mink's old building, if someone decides to put apartments up there, they have to find parking for every single apartment that goes in? I think that means that we don't get any new apartments downtown because I'm not sure where that would be created. And if it's just in those parking lots, the ones that they're talking about selling off, it said that, the proposal said that they could net all kinds of tax money off of it. But you would have to, anyone putting in that kind of money into parking, which would probably be underground in those small lots, would request tax increment financing, which means the city isn't going to see any of that tax money for 25, 30 years off of that. So as hard as they worked on this, I'm not sure any of their proposals really work out. And actually, I'm still trying to figure out what problem we're trying to solve here. I don't think there is a parking problem downtown. Thank you.
Thank you. Who wants to go next? Come on up.
Well, I'm on my way.
We're gonna try and keep it to 3 minutes if you can. All right, thanks.
Laura Bested, we own the building, 608 Front Street. If you put in paid parking on 7th and Laurel, it's just going to give the backwash to us on Front Street. For those who don't want to pay, they're just going to take up our parking. That's my major concern. Our apartments, we have 4 apartments. All of our guys don't have parking because they take the bus. They use the city bus service. They are told when they rent apartments from us that they would be required by the city to pay for parking and not to park during daytime hours between the hours of 8 and 6 on the street. And if they do park on the street, as the Brainerd Police Department knows, I call, because that is business parking. I don't feel we should get rid of any of the parking lots that we have on Front Street or the other open parkings that we have there. I believe they should be monitored a little better. I've seen cars parked out there for days at a time. There's no tires, there's nothing like this. Not saying nothing bad about the police department, not gonna go there. You guys do a great job. But, you know, it's just not monitored enough that we need to be taking big steps to put in monitored parking for something that's not being monitored now, and who's going to write out the tickets? We can't get them to mark the tires. It's just a question. So that was my big issue. Is like I said, we don't want to be the back swamp to to Laurel and 7th Street, that if you can't park up there, then you're just going to park on our street. And don't get rid of the parking, none of the parking lots that we use now. They're being used all the time. My business, and a lot of them on Front Street, I know downtown they want to get them to come downtown, spend 3 hours, shop around and do all that. I have a destination shop. I've got the Sports Card Central downtown, been there for 24 years. Seen a lot come, seen a lot go, seen one-way parking come and go. People want to just come in, they want to park, come in, do their business, get out, go home. So, I mean, you know, what's down there now is working. If it was monitored a little more, please don't put in parking meters. It'll just give us backwash and we'll be gone before long. If there's no parking, there's no business. I compete with Targets and Walmarts and everybody now and online, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who'd like to go next? Come on up.
Hi, my name is Beth Workman, and I'm the owner of Picture Perfect Framing Studio located at 610 Front Street in downtown Brainerd. I strongly oppose the recommendation to implement parking meters in downtown Brainerd. The plan justifies it by saying the meters will keep commercial and residential tenants from monopolizing the prime parking areas downtown. And that might be true to some extent, but I believe that that's just passing the buck to streets like mine a block away. I highly doubt the people who've been abusing the system will suddenly become good little citizens and rent a parking space in one of the leased lots, especially now when there is a recommendation to increase the prices for these lots. I find it far more likely that the people will merely start parking all day on Front Street, Maple, 8th, or anywhere without a parking meter. And as a business owner on Front Street, that overflow is just not acceptable. And I'm sure many honest customers will make the decision to just turn the corner and park for free as well. I understand that Laurel Street does have a parking issue, and I sympathize, and I really don't want their solution to become my problem. It's imperative to my business that my customers can park close to my door. People are carrying large frames with glass, sometimes over 100 pounds, in and out of my shop daily. It's dangerous and impractical to expect these people to walk any distance. We have 2 great restaurants on Front Street on my block, and the parking is already a pretty significant problem during the lunch hour when my shop is the busiest. I'll have to give serious thought to moving my successful shop to another location if parking does become more of a problem because of the meters on our block. And I would hate to do that because I love our downtown and really want to see it thrive. I also have additional issue with the parking meters in that I truly believe that adding them will be a public relations nightmare. We've been trying our best over the last decade to change the image of downtown to a positive one, and I think great progress has been made. Parking meters are universally despised. Having to pay for parking will certainly not make any customer happy. It's annoying and will confuse a lot of people, which has been said here already today. That's not going to help with our whole positive image goal. We'll be punishing our loyal customers for the sins of the local tenants, and this token 15 minutes of free parking is fairly pointless, in my opinion. No business will really benefit from stressed out people trying to get in and out as quickly as they possibly can, and no customer is going to thank the city for it. I've owned my shop for 9 years, and only a handful of customers have even mentioned anything about parking. You can bet that will change if the council agrees to this recommendation. And although I appreciate the time and effort that went into this recommendation, I just don't think that it works for downtown Brainerd. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for coming forward. Who'd like to go next?
I guess I get to try to sneak over here and be next. Good evening, fellow council members and council president and Mayor Bedeau and Jennifer Bergman, city administrator. I have been in the retail business going on 53 years. Throughout those 53 years, 48 of them have been in downtown Brainerd, 43 of them have owned my own business down here. One of the big problems in downtown, and I use the word big with the parentheses, is parking. It's always been a problem, it's always been an issue, but somehow we seem to survive it. If there comes ways of dealing with it, marking tires, going that route, charging more for parking, etc. About 40 years ago, we got rid of the parking meters downtown. It was quite a to-do about getting rid of them. It was created because we were having further competition out in Baxter and with big boxes and with the East End Mall. The Baxter Mall, or the mall, Westgate Mall was being developed at that time. So we got rid of it. Fast forward, now we're talking about doing it again at a very, very expensive method. Others are talking about it much more fluently than I can, but I'm against it. I will tell you that we will see a decrease in gross revenues through downtown. We'll see a decrease in property values if those gross revenues drop, because we'll lose businesses in downtown. A little bit of knowledge about downtown. It's a unique district. In downtown, the Center Business District zoning does not have a number of things. One of the things is that no residential on main floors. There is some residential allowed below surface, in other words, basement. The downtown is also developed with a zero setback, wall-to-wall construction. It also has the caveat that there is no requirement of street parking for any development within that district, which puts the onus on the city to provide parking, street parking, whatever. Now, you go and start changing the zoning, I'm quite certain you will see probably some lawsuits. Most definitely you'll see some people moving out of the area. You'll see some depreciated values in the area. Now, next thing is I'm going to talk a little bit about the values of downtown. Any of you have an idea what the Parker building I used to own, puts together and pays per year into the city of Brainerd? This would include the real estate taxes. This would include special assessments. This would include special licenses, parking, and 0.5% on all gross sales. Does anyone here have an idea what that would amount to? I don't know if you do, but if you don't, that's okay. It's just under $12,000 a year that building provides to the city of Brainerd. Now, talking about, you're raising some costs here of parking downtown. This council, just approximately a year and a half ago, paid over $200,000 for a parking lot on Mill Avenue that does not bring a nickel in revenues to the city of Brainerd. They also paid over $1 million to have an athletic field put in up there. Now you're nickel and diming downtown because you're only seeing a $996 profit in parking. You want to raise the rates across the board of the parking down here. This area provides a lot of income to the city of Brainerd. The 0.5%, yes, goes to BPU for the wastewater treatment plant, but the balance of it comes to the city hall in the direct budget. Now, you go and look at that. That is one part of the deal. Parking meters, okay, that's been discussed. We've seen that. That's a big issue, but I think most of us would agree probably shouldn't be an issue. That's like bringing an elephant gun to kill a fly when you use a fly swatter. The recommendation number 3, designated 90% of the revenue generated by downtown parking meters. When are we going to see that? Numbers that were given just a little bit ago would indicate that there's never going to be a profit, that 90% is going to go into operating costs and for depreciation and costs of the equipment. It's going to chase business away. If you see the businesses downtown, a number of them are fairly new. Mine's probably one of the older ones in downtown. If we lose business, when a mall happened about 25 years ago, 30 years ago, 35 years ago, we saw a 40% decrease in downtown revenues. Boom. If you put the parking meters in there, you're going to see a decrease in revenues. Maybe not 40%, but maybe 20 or 30. Most of those businesses down there are tender enough that they can't handle a 30% drop in revenues. You're going to see them walk out and leave. Number 4, the kiosks. Those kiosks were put in 2009. They were never maintained decently by the city. They were thrown at various individuals to take care of. Some of them were taken care of for a while, but basically not. I agree, they need to be taken care of. They need new posters put in. They need some designation, someone who is responsible to take care of them. That recommendation I can agree with. Take care of them. Do they get used? I don't know, but I know that they look ugly. You know, number 5, requiring property owners to identify parking for their tenants. There's only one way to get more parking. And because of downtown being the best it's been in over 30 years, we don't have any vacancies right now. We have more apartments. HRA and the council here helped us achieve that wonderful apartment dwelling area, upgrading many of the apartments so they become viable again. All of a sudden, there's only one way to find more parking. Fire. Well, the second way, demolition of derelict buildings. Those are the only 2 ways to get more parking in that area. Are you willing to go and do that? I suppose, maybe. One of the ways you can get some more parking is go and talking to Mercer Mills, trying to negotiate to buy her lot on Front Street and turn that into parking. That lot was designated at one time for downtown parking. Tom Green came to Dan Vogt here in City Hall with a check in hand and says, after the city had acquired it, I want to buy it for Mills when they were across the street here. This council said, okay, they sold it. Downtown lost the parking. Mills were able to use it for their employees. I guess that was kind of a fair deal, but today we really do need that extra parking space. You spent $200,000 plus buying a lot that's unused. Let's buy a lot here that can be actually utilized by businesses and by apartment dwellers. Close proximity to the need. You know, number 6, develop a marketing strategy. I think that's needed. Develop a marketing strategy. Let's go with it. Let's figure out how to market the downtown, how to market businesses throughout the city of Brainerd. Right now, we don't have a big box store in the city of Brainerd. We lost them all through the topography of the city of Brainerd. But we have many, many niche markets. We have many service businesses within the city. Let's market the city. Let's market this as a place to go, rather than trying to find a way to nickel and dime us down to nothing. Now, I realize I'm taking probably more of my time.
It's a long 3 minutes.
Well, you know, I'm a firm believer in the city of Brainerd.
Started talking.
I'm a firm believer in the city of Brainerd. Let's be positive about this thing. Let's not be negative. Let's be positive. Let's look at positive things we can do that will actually benefit, A, the property owners, B, the business owners, and C, the consumers. And in doing so, we will see our property values go up, our increase in sales tax revenues, and the value of properties within the city because it becomes the place to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Who wants to be next?
Hi, Marie Kirsch. I own and operate Naughty Pine Bakery in downtown Brainerd. I just want to thank the Parking Commission. I think they had a really hard job assigned to them, and I know they put a lot of thought and effort into the recommendations they made. I'm happy to see the recommendations around turning parking lots and getting those more developed. When I was first looking at where I wanted to set up my business, I looked at pictures of downtown Brainerd way back in the day, and what surprised me is the density that was there. There was buildings, you didn't see any parking lots, and to see where we're at today, whether it was due to fire or demolition, there's kind of big gaps remaining in downtown right now, and I'm excited at this prospect of those getting used for commercial space and to have mixed-use spaces. As Matt mentioned, there's that ember there burning. I was part of the Destination Downtown competition, and I'm happy to be down in Brainerd, but I want more people to join us, and I think for that to happen, we need to have more opportunities for developers and other spaces to come in there so we can have, that go back to those pictures from the 1920s and 30s and how we had just a dense area and full of businesses, and just adding more opportunities for businesses to come to downtown Brainerd. So I'm happy to see that as one of the recommendations. For the parking meters, I know the commission was tasked with the issue of we have customers that we want to attract to downtown, and then we also have tenants and employees that need to park downtown. And so the challenge I have as a business is I see parking spaces in front of my business frequently being used for not by customers. So that's the challenge that the commission had to address, is how do we allow for turnover of those spaces for businesses so that we can have customers and people that are coming in and paying for our services to be able to park. And I see the parking meters as a compromise. I would love if we could just have free parking and have that available for customers. But I also see the issue that we have tenants and people that if those free parking spaces are there, they're going to take opportunity in that and use those spaces. So I see that was a difficult recommendation for them to make, but I'm generally in support of it, just in the sense that I don't see another solution, and I don't, of the people that came up and spoke, I don't see any other solutions being proposed that would address those issues that the commission was tasked with addressing. The only other solution I could see would be if we did pay, say, the police force to be monitoring more, but then there's that cost built into that too. So yeah, I see the issues that all the other business owners and others have raised around the parking meter, having that implemented, but I see it as just, maybe the best solution that we can have at this time. And I hope there's more conversation around this. I think business owners, we need to learn more about what these parking meters would mean, and the 2-sentence description that went out with the announcement to come to this public hearing, I think doesn't answer all the questions. And so I hope that we can continue to have a conversation so business owners can learn more about what that solution means and how that would be implemented. So those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thanks, Marie. Who'd like to be next? Come on up. We want to keep this moving. Come on up.
Hi, I'm Kathy Gray. I live at 15674 Sand Hill Circle. I'm a longtime Brainerd resident. My parents had a store downtown. We had none of the parking that we have now because there was wall-to-wall buildings, and through fire and destruction, we've added a lot of parking spaces, which makes it much more enjoyable to come downtown and go shopping. If I had to stop and go back to a parking meter every so often, I might not spend as much time shopping downtown. Make my husband happy, but I'm trying to help the local economy. I grew up with a store downtown, and my dad was the collector of the money that went into the parking meters, and we got to go through all that money and sort it and put it into coin things. Very labor intensive. I don't know who you're going to have do that now. But you also had to have police officers downtown a lot more often. And we had a lot more walking patrol back then. But I don't see that asking the downtown merchants to give up business when all the other businesses in town don't have to pay for parking meters. Their customers don't have to pay for parking meters. They pay for parking. I think we could develop the areas that are available downtown into city parking lots and put, either ask people to pay there or rent space there to be able to park. But I really see putting meters downtown as going backward. Plus, you're going to have to pay more city employee time for meter maids, meter monitors, whatever you call them nowadays. I just think it's a really poor idea. So that was my 2 cents worth.
Thanks for coming
Under 3
forward.
minutes.
You did great. Who'd like to be next? Come on up, Nyla. Can you do three, can you to show Ed Mank what 3 minutes is all about?
I started, I'm Nyla Patrick, I have VIP Floral
What's the address?
at 710 Laurel Street. I started my first job downtown in 1969 at the House of Flowers, which was Cave's House of Flowers on Front Street. And that was the day when Hazel the meter maid would come by. People feared her like the Grim Reaper. It was a horrible feeling for even adults. Here she comes, here she comes. Oh my gosh, what you have with your downtown is your heart of your city. That's why we did the Brainerd restoration program. That's why we have our lights and our park benches. I love my downtown. I don't want to see anybody driven away by the parking meters and that negativity. I have apartments. I have parking issues every single day. I wish that we could have some method of training everybody's tenants, like mine are trained to not park in front of the stores, and I have provided rental spaces that I pay for so they aren't in front of my store. That helps, but they still try to park in front, and I have to move them out. If there was some kind of a little note that we could put on every car that is there too long in front of our stores, it wouldn't take a police officer. It wouldn't take Hazel the meter maid. It would just be us as business owners trying to help move those people along. And I mean, yes, you can take their license number and you can help the police move them, but I think the police have bigger, better things to do than empty meters or get people that are running to their meter for fear that, oh, please don't give me a ticket. You know, you've seen those things on movies, and I was here for that. I've been here longer, I think, than Ed even. So I'm going on 52 years in downtown Brainerd as family businesses, and my own business has been here. But my business just on Laurel Street has been quite, how many times I've been on all these different parking committees, and here we are backwards, going backwards. Just to get the meters out, everybody was overjoyed. And it's been hard to bring it back to where we have it now. I think you're just going to destroy all the good feelings that people have about the old-fashioned downtown. That's my part.
Thanks, Nala. Who'd like to go next? Come on. Come on. Come, Dave.
Dave Peringer, 616.5 Front Street, Brainerd, Minnesota. As you're aware, I probably have 45% of the downtown, which is quite a bit. I don't see where there's any problem with parking revenue. That's one thing I want to bring up. I've got the numbers from David Chansky, and it shows we have $996 positive after all expenses of all the different parking lots. Now, they're proposing they raise them by $25 to $30 some per space, which is a lot of rent increase, basically, even though it's not coming to landlord, for people to be downtown. That's going to hurt a lot of our more impoverished tenants who are working on borderline jobs and just surviving. And we have non-subsidized housing downtown. The people are living there, work, you know, they're essential workers and this kind of thing. If we raise that figure to what they're proposing, That's $34,366 extra just from the parking space. That's a lot of money. And I don't see where that is needed. Even if we have to maintain lots, like this summer they repaved a lot that our downtown people had chipped in a while back to initially pave it and get it all ready for parking, and now they're talking about selling them. But if you take, I don't know, what is it, $35,000 it costs maybe to redo that? I'm assuming the city pays more than a private enterprise would. Do you know how much?
For 35,
What's
Dave?
that? Is that about right? No. How much did it cost?
No. Hey, Dave, you just direct your comments here. If you've got questions of staff, please save that for another time. There's a lot of people who want to talk.
Okay.
Sorry, Mr. President.
Well, $35,000, if you amortize it out over 10 years.
Try and keep it to 3 minutes.
I'm sorry?
Try and keep it to 3 to 5 minutes.
I can't go quite that fast. I'm long-winded like that, but I'll shorten as much as I can. Payments would be $354 for a 4% loan for $35,000. If we raised everything just $5 on all the lots, we'd have $9,720 to pay that, which would still be $5,000-6,000 in the plus. So we could do a new lot every 10 years based on my projections of what it should cost. But again, cities may pay more. I'm concerned about a couple things. One is they're just suggesting that all the money except 10% goes to the EDA. Well, shouldn't the whole city be taxed to pay for the EDA rather than just the downtown businesses and those who use downtown? Economic development is for the whole city, not just the downtown people to pay for. And we're not necessarily benefiting because we're the ones paying for it and having our customers be driven out by parking meters, by these spaces that they're suggesting we raise. I think it's ludicrous, the amount of raises they're talking about, and then they're saying it's going to help the downtown values. I don't see where anything raising our expenses ever helps downtown values or any building. You raise expenses, it goes down in value. One of the things I'm also concerned about is they're proposing these parking, the buildings, any new building going downtown has to have 1.5 parking meters for every unit. Now, that would mean the downtown building I just did, the downtown mall, would never have been done. That building would have been torn down and demolished because I can't provide additional parking without either demolishing another building or my building wouldn't happen. Ed Mink's building can't happen if he has to provide 1.5 meters. And I had looked at plans to do it, and I had figured I could get about 35, efficiency apartments in there. But without parking and a guarantee that we have to provide parking, that building will never be renovated. If I ever lose factory direct, at one time I had plans to build 8 units up there. That will never happen. So what happens to the downtown long-term with this requirement that every building has to have parking? It just doesn't happen. Downtown deteriorates. The other thing, when we build any projects anywhere in downtown, if they have to provide their own parking, that's all underground stuff. That's, again, tax increment financing, which means for 25 years, the city does not see $1 in additional taxes. All the money in taxes that they're charged goes to debt service. So all of us will be dead before anything happens there. And I don't recommend we make it happen where we lose our downtown parking and we lose any additional revenue that these properties would bring in. I'm real concerned that we're going to chase everybody out of downtown. Now just this last year, we rented 3 spaces out in the spaces we had empty. 4 spaces, because we finally got some changes. Now we're not getting major rent increases on our commercial properties. That's not happening at all. Our apartments bring in like 5 times the revenue per square foot as a business does. And we're not really able to raise the rents to make this happen. And then if you also take the customers away, we're going to, again, empty the downtown. And I'm really concerned about the image, I'm concerned about the cost, and I'm concerned about the inconvenience for, first of all, the commercial tenants, customers, because they can no longer go in and take their time and buy. They got to worry about meters. And I'm concerned about our tenants that would rent the apartments, who bring in the core of the business's expenses for downtown. It isn't the businesses, and I love our businesses, don't get me wrong. The atmosphere we have in Brainerd right now is finally something similar to Nisswa. People are coming here to see what's happening, but it's very fragile. these 4 businesses, every year now for the last 40 years I've been here, I've had an average of 2 to 3 business spaces empty on the main levels. We finally got them full, and this proposal to, raise our parking costs, raise taxes basically on our limited group of people, it just seems really bad, and I am really, really against it, and I think that we'd be shooting ourselves in the foot, and all the work guys like Matt's done, I've done, and I spent $700,000 in my buildings in the last couple of years, renovating, thinking, okay, we've got a city that's working with us. And I was telling them, well, let's pull the rug out from all these guys. These people who spent their life's fortunes putting together these businesses, we're going to be pulling the rug out from them too if you do this. And I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to solve this a second time if you do this. It's just going to destroy the business, destroy the confidence in downtown, and a lot of people are just going to throw their hands up. So definitely I'm against adding this parking. Ed Mattson sent a letter too. He suggested disbanding this parking commission because they really are only looking to collect revenue. They're not really looking to do anything for the downtown. He asked me to read his letter. I'm not going to do that because you said you've got it. I'd like you to look at that letter though and pay attention to what's happening there. And maybe that's Ed calling. I don't know. But real concerned that we don't go the wrong route. It's been too much work by too many people to make what's happening happen here. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Who wants to be next?
Lois
Yeah,
Hensel,
I gotta
owner
ask
of
you,
Lawada
hang on
Oils
one
and
second.
Vineyards.
Can you guys turn your cell phones off? Good, do it again. It's working. All right, sorry to interrupt you.
It's all
Name
right.
and
Lois Hensel, owner of Lawada Oils and Vinegars, 617 Laurel Street.
Steve Hensel.
So, not going to go over, most people cared a lot. I will say, I don't agree with any of the recommendations, and I'll bring up just a few points. I like the idea of the city of Brainerd buying another lot. Need to figure out how many spaces you have available, and then price all the lots at the same price, making them more affordable, and then your lots will be full, and you won't have to work at a deficit. And just the one lot's working at a deficit, so obviously the city's still not at a deficit. The comment about bringing the prices to the private sector, yeah, you guys aren't the private sector. Our property taxes are already paying for those lots to begin with. So with that, recommendation 3, 90% of the revenue getting used for the downtown programs and improvements. Comment being made without costing Brainerd taxpayers a dime. I'm not sure if you've got excess money that you're going to use for all of this, or if the taxes are going to increase, but any property owner, whether they're residential or commercial, are all Brainerd taxpayers, so they're paying for it. Update the kiosks for wayfinding. With today's technology, and everybody pulling out their cell phones, and they've got directions, they can get store hours, they can get anything they want. Most people, a lot of people on their phones. I just don't see, between the internet, your cell phones, et cetera, how spending possibly up to $5,000 per kiosk is going to help people wayfind. And if you start charging for parking, you won't need to, because they won't be there. They won't be looking for anything. Recommendation 7, pedestrian-friendly and community space, which I think is a great idea. But I don't know where you think you're going to find green space when we can't even find parking. And then to implement additional bike racks, picnic tables, benches, okay, another great idea, but now you're going to incur another cost to the city when they have to snowplow around them or clean around them. And it's just going to create an additional cost. I'm not really sure who's going to have time to go in there, but the community improvements, maybe you want to consider implementing an apartment tax, because I'm thinking possibly that might be something, sorry guys. But I mean, well, I know, we all are paying. So anyways, I'm just saying, I was told that the reason apartment dwellers don't have to incur any of the cost of the special services of street cleaning, et cetera, is because we don't know who they are. Maybe that's an ordinance you want to invoke and make people that are spending their time in downtown Brainerd register with the city so that they too can pay their fair share. Talk about parking.
Real quick, yeah, Steve. In regards, we are the ones that purchased the building from Ed. So we have invested a lot of our personal money and our savings and our future in that building. But to say we can't do apartments, maybe with Dave, maybe not, or to do other business and raise that ballroom back to what it was, where am I going to put them? If you take that lot away, and I heard a comment about let's rebuild down here, where are you going to put another building without parking? That's just, to me. And with the mayor, I was here 6 months ago, we discussed. I don't think we have a parking problem. We have an employee parking problem. And in regards to that, I have been in talk with the city, the police department. We have space or spaces, but at least 3 times a week, I have to call and get someone out. And I've been told, put a note on their window and be a nice guy. 3 out of 7 days in the last month, I have to put notes on. Who do I call? This is another issue. Who, can we just pull him? Not a nice guy, but I agree. We're paying for something, it says 24-hour enforced. I get pretty much, please don't do that. But they will, but I can't get a hold of Collins, won't do it. They said we'd prefer not to. It's just something, like I said, an address is an employee issue, so I have to move my pickup somewhere else, ask Ed if I can have a spot for the day or something, or someone else. So we have to move around on issues like that.
The one thing that I don't see in any of this is what time of the year or when was this whole thing evaluated that we have a problem with parking? Because I tell you what, on most days when I'm down there, there are empty parking spots all over Laurel Street. So maybe there's 1 month out of the year or 2 months out of the year that you have more people visiting the city. But I also agree, you put these parking meters in, everybody's gonna go to Front Street, they're gonna go to all the other places where they don't have to pay. And so it affects everyone.
Real quick, and we're trying to hit the 3. If I know we're probably over. Today, I work the store. The customers today, about 65% laughed at the fact about meters. And that's what we're gonna talk about the most, about is the meters. The other 35%, they would not come to downtown Brainerd. When I asked them about our store, they said, well, I'll go somewhere else or I'll drive to your Municipal store. We are trying to make this one happen, but I will tell you, we will be down. I don't know if Ed's numbers are correct, but I think he's right at 30%. We may be another one that we won't be able to have to push to somewhere else. Sir's numbers, we've done the same thing. We come up with the same numbers as she does. So with the parking meter thing, I really think we're gonna hurt. I know others don't. Again, on Laurel, I took pictures today, twice today. There's no one on Laurel. Out in front of the co-op or in our store. There's nothing there. There's hardly any spaces down there, so as Lois said, we need to look at the whole picture. Are we just worried about 1 month? We'll figure it out. But if we're trying to push this for 12 months out of the year, we're gonna kill an incredible movement that all of you have started.
The chamber and everybody that gave money and uncountless number of hours to try to bring this town back. And that's why a lot of us businesses are here, is because of them and the hard work they did. So let's not take that away and go backwards. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Who wants to be next? We want to keep going through. Sean, is there anybody online that has raised their hand? *3 digitally raises your hand. I see nobody. Okay. I'm going to ask a second time. Anybody who in the audience who wishes to speak on parking issues? I'm going to ask a third time, and then I'm going to close the public hearing. Anybody in the audience that wishes to speak on parking issues or the recommendations by the parking committee? Okay, we're going to close the public comment section. Ask the council if anybody has any comments or would like to make a motion on the 7 recommendations? Something else?
I have a comment.
Mr. Pritchett?
I'm gonna aim my comment at proposal number 2 with the parking meters.
All I ask is do not comment on the public's comments.
No, I'm not going to.
This is not a debate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. I find parking meters inherently unfriendly. So, just kind of looking at this, I'm more amenable to the other proposals made, maybe with some movement on the numbers, but, from everything I've heard in my experience, I do not agree with parking meters.
Thank you, Mr. Pritchett. Mr. Stunek?
I say the same thing. I think parking meters are going way backwards.
Okay. Any other comments or anybody who would like to make a motion? And we don't have to make a motion this evening. Mr. O'Day?
I think what's happened in this, was this what everybody saw? Was this all that you guys saw? So there was a lot more discussion.
I seen 7 pages because
Sorry, I didn't mean to ask a question and start more discussion. There was a lot more discussion on not just having meters. It was a system, not just being meters. I'm not crazy about meters. I never was. I saw it working as a whole. It was a whole system that they had developed, and I had to read through it a couple times to even understand what the whole recommendation was. But I think you do this in steps. I think you try one thing or another. You don't have to just implement everything at once. And I think just based on public input, I think the meter or meter type system would be one that would be later down the line if something else doesn't work.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I kind of agree with those last comments where the Parking Commission put a lot of time and energy into this. They put a lot of work into it. City staff put a lot of time and energy into this. I mean, to boil it down to 8 sentences isn't right. And they developed a whole idea to deal with parking as downtown continues to grow over time. And the parking meters were kind of the linchpin. If you don't have the parking meters, a lot of the other things just kind of fall apart and don't really work. I don't really like parking meters. I use them though because they're usually located in places people want to be, and that's the kind of places I go. But given the feedback from the community, I represent the people of Brainerd, and they may be right, they may be wrong, but it's clear they don't want parking meters, so I'll go with that.
Amen.
Anything else, Mr. Johnson?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Mayor Bedot?
All right, so I was a part of the parking commission, and I think a lot of you know that. I get to be the representative of the evil group of individuals. Many times, and I 5, 6 times, I came to this council and I said, there are going to be things in this report that are going to be very unpopular. And I think you guys will admit that it was probably around 6 times that I said that. Just continually giving updates that when we get to that point, there's going to be a lot of things in this report that are unpopular. I don't necessarily support everything that's in this report. It's a part of being on a committee. It's a part of give and take. It's a part of trying to come up with solutions. I think it was a very strong group with a lot of very strong opinions, and I think that shows through when you read through this. There's a lot of really good stuff in here. There's a lot of stuff that obviously, like I thought, would come to the public and the public would speak against. That's a part of what we do here, though. It's a part of being in government. We are representatives of the people. I love that Councilman Johnson said that. We're representatives of the people. We're not up here to make decisions because we think that we have all the answers. We're up here to represent people and to hear what they have to say. We asked for committee members, as we did tonight, as we have commissions that are available, and those people stepped up and they came with recommendations. I support a lot of those. I don't know how I feel about some of them. I was of the recommendation that maybe we try parking meters in a small section. Maybe we take eight slots off on Maple or somewhere off to the side, and you put parking meters there, and you see what happens. That did not win out within that commission. But that's a part of the process, and I think this is also part of the process. And in all of those times that I spoke up in my reports about the commission and about what we were going to happen, this is exactly what I envisioned, is a room full of people coming in here and saying, you don't like the parking meters. because that's exactly what I thought was gonna happen, and that's exactly where we are. I feel very strongly about the fact that we need to be representatives of you. I feel very strongly that we need to come up with solutions. We have some issues that need to be addressed, and I think that it is upon the council now to figure out how this works and how we fit the pieces together, because you're absolutely correct that they all do kind of interconnect and overlap. So the issue at hand now is to take what we've got, take the advice of the public, and act as stewards of the public's interest, and I think we can do that.
Thank you. Anybody want to try a motion on any of this stuff? We have a lot of people here that spoke tonight. Anybody at all?
Well, Mr. Chair, I'll try a motion.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right.
Risky endeavor.
Yeah, I'll move that we direct staff and the parking commission to move forward with the recommendations, with throwing out recommendation 2 with the parking meters, and disregard that at this time to be revisited in a future year. Nice, I'll move.
Second.
I have a motion by Johnson, second by Tad Erickson, to direct staff and the parking commission to move forward with all 8 proposals except for item 2. Correct?
Correct.
Any discussion on that motion? Mr. O'Day?
Is this everything in detail? Are you motioning everything in detail that was on a 7-page or 8-page report that we had before, minus the parking meter discussion? Or are you saying to look at the numbers and negotiate some of that and bring it back to us?
Thank you for the question. If I could clarify, Mr. President,
please.
it is moving forward with what we discussed at our workshop, what the whole parking commission's plans, but bringing the issues, each one of the 8 items that have many more ideas included in each of the 8, to the council one at a time to be decided, not to just implement without coming back to the council.
I kind of think that contradicts what you motioned.
Is to move forward with everything except number 2.
Yes, but that's different from coming back and reworking and revoting on each individual.
Okay, well then I'll rescind my motion because I wasn't intending to move to implement absolutely everything that the commission except number 2
That's
immediately.
the way I took your motion.
Yeah, not immediately. It's over time.
We can talk about stuff all the
Yeah,
time.
no, I'll rescind my motion. I gave it a shot, Mr. President. I'm sorry.
No, all right. I didn't mean to,
So you did rescind your motion?
I did rescind my motion, yeah.
Tad?
So, as the seconder, I'll also rescind the second. And I guess I'll take a stab at making a motion.
It's your floor.
I think we've heard a lot from the public, as we suspected. The parking commission, I think, did a really good job. As several in the audience and several up here have noted, they did a lot of hard work. They kudos to them. They did a really good job. I like a lot of the recommendations. Nobody likes parking meters. I don't like parking meters. I like what several have said. As representatives, we've heard you loud and clear. I'm not comfortable moving forward with the parking meters based on what I've heard. I do agree that in the proposal of all 8 recommendations, the meters is kind of the linchpin that ties the whole idea together. Having business owners having to call the police, having to put tags on windows. Part of me thinks some of that gets solved by parking meters, and I've heard that from several of you. So as far as my motion, I guess I would say let's send this back to the parking committee to tweak some of the numbers. A lot of you had said the lease, increasing the leases, you're amenable to that. Maybe it's not the right number. Some of you didn't, some of you did. I think I support, at this point, I'd support 7 of these 8. So my motion would be to send this back to the parking committee to tweak some of the numbers, moving forward with 7 of the 8. The one that omitting number 2, the parking meters.
I'll second that. I thought I motioned that, but I'll second that.
Yeah, when you said moving forward, I want you to clarify that, because that's exactly what Gabe Johnson just said. Are you suggesting we adopt 1 through 8, not 2?
Send it to the parking committee
Okay.
to
Not moving
make a
forward on it.
recommendation, to make a new recommendation tweaking them.
Tweaking them.
Well, make a new recommendation on 7 of the 8,
Okay.
omitting
Not
number 2.
moving forward on any of them.
I think it's progress, given the conversation, so I'd call it moving forward, but I'd say making a recommendation.
Boy,
Based on the
I really
feedback.
think that's a vague motion. I do.
Okay.
Let it die in committee.
All right. I heard your motion. Who was the seconder? Gabe Johnson. I'm gonna accept the motion in a second, but I really wish you'd consider putting some specifics as to what you want them to do. Just talk about it for a while? Because you know how I was the only council member to vote against this committee. Because I think everyone in this room can go talk about anything they want to, anytime they want to. So,
I wasn't here yet.
all right. You've made a motion, Chairman Johnson has seconded, to send 7 of these 8 items for tweaking back to the committee. No.
Mr. President, that was not.
No. Chief Stunek is up next.
We've spent 20 minutes now talking about the parking thing. In my personal belief, I come downtown every day. Some of these people have said, there's no parking problem. I don't, not that there isn't some parking issues that we need to deal with, but I think it's gone way over the top. I don't think there's a huge parking problem. I really don't. Are there events that go on downtown? Yeah, we got a heck of a parking problem, because the people are downtown. I just think we're wasting our time sometimes.
I'm gonna vote against this
I am too.
motion. Mayor Bedell.
I'm just looking for clarification so that I can, if the motion passes, that I can take it to them. You're looking to have it come back piecemeal, one at a time. Because the main thing that came about this, and I'm just gonna go back to where this all started, was that we spend too much money on the Burlington Northern lot, and that we need to increase the price on the Burlington Northern lot because it increases 4% every single year as a cost to the city, and it needs to be repaired, and there's a cost to that. Your initial request of that group was to look at that issue. This all rose from that. If you're going to ask, all I want is clarification, are they coming back with a recommendation on the items individually?
Yeah, tweaking.
Well, but does that mean that you want them individual? That's my question. Clarification on your motion.
The motion does not say that. It says the 7 individual items, but they don't have to do them all individually.
Mr. President?
Yep.
Several have noted, I think many of us have said that they've done a really good job. They put a lot of work into this. We've requested that the public weigh in. I think we owe it to the committee to be able to respond to what they've heard and come back with a recommendation. How they do that, whether they do it individually or, they scrap some, my motion is to say on only, we're throwing number 2 out. I would like the parking committee to come back with a recommendation based on what they've heard on 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Okay.
Is that clarification enough for?
Well, so is that a different motion now?
No.
No.
So we're taking the word
I've been asked to clarify.
That's Kelly's
So I'm
word.
clarifying.
No, that was in the motion.
Definition of the word tweak, evidently.
I think that's fair.
I appreciate you restating that a little bit. I will still be voting against the motion. Anybody else want to speak on the motion? Anybody else?
I'll say one more thing.
Well,
We might as well, we're still here.
Yeah, we are.
I left an hour ago.
So this is the second time I think this has come through with public comment. The first time, the major recommendation was for the city to just completely get out of parking. I thought that was a great idea, and this is pretty much the same group that didn't think that. So we pulled back on it. And now there was another recommendation, along with 7 other recommendations that everyone didn't like too. I don't even know if we do have a parking issue downtown or not. Because when I'm down there, I don't have trouble finding a spot either. But there are some individuals that do, apparently, and I don't know where this is all coming from. But I think this is a great motion to just send it back. Look at it one more time. If we're just gonna keep going and cycling through this, then just, we get rid of it.
Okay. Any, nope. Any other comments? Any other comments? So the motion is to send items 1 and 3 through 8 back to the Parking Commission for their comments after today's public hearing. And any adjustments they wish to make with no direction as to those adjustments. That's what I heard. I'm trying,
Done. The public response.
right. Let's do a roll call.
You got it, Mr. President. Johnson?
Yes.
Pritchett?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
O'Day?
Yes.
Stunek?
No.
And Bevins?
No, that motion passes. We'll keep you all posted.
We're so close to. I know, I was really close to voting.
Next up is the public forum. This is the time allocated for citizens to bring matters not, you can hang out, this will be good too, I think. Maybe. Time allocated for citizens to bring matters not on the agenda, so you can't talk about parking. You can go out in the hall and talk about parking. To the attention of the council, we'd really like to keep this to a couple minutes on each topic or each speaker. So if it's not on tonight's agenda and you want us to know about what you think about it, now's your chance. It is 17 minutes to 10. And I will ask a second time, anybody who wishes to address the council on anything that's
Can I
not,
step forward?
yes.
All right.
Yes,
Well,
you
good
can.
evening.
You have
Thank
to
you,
state
guys.
your name and address.
Okay. My name is Steve Clow. My address is 5972 Ojibwa Road in Brainerd. I know many of you guys here, have known many for various years. I just wanted to thank you for consideration of the proposal and offer we've put out to the city of Brainerd
Okay, but
regarding.
you can't talk about that.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Okay. So let me just tell you a little bit about.
You're going
my
to get a great opportunity Thursday and again.
Okay. Can I just kind of give a little introduction on myself then, or not? Not really.
We're going to
No?
hear it all again
Okay.
twice.
All right. I'll just
Okay?
back out.
That's all right. and I really do want to hear it, but we're going to
Okay.
hear it at the EDA Thursday, and
Okay.
then that's going to come back to the council, right, Gabe?
Okay. That's how that works? No?
No?
Jennifer?
Probably.
We voted to convey the parcels of land in question to the EDA tonight. The EDA will be doing any negotiating.
They will be.
Steve, give us 3 to 5 minutes.
Oh, I don't even need to give you that.
Give us-
So I thought it would just be an opportunity to kind of share with you guys a little bit about myself and Cindy, my wife. We are both lifelong residents of Brainerd. We were born and raised in Brainerd. I was born or raised in southeast Brainerd, and Cindy was raised on South 6th Street. We both graduated from Brainerd High School in 1976. I worked at Schaefer's Red Owl for a number of years, and Cindy actually started her work career at McDonald's. I also was an employee following my father's footsteps, who was an employee of the Brainerd Water and Lake Department for many years, and I was there for a few years as well. In 1981, we started Just for Kicks, which has been a local business in the Brainerd Lakes area for many years. And we are both third, probably 3 or 4 generation Brainerd residents, and were born in Brainerd, as I said, and my grandparents were from here. Cindy's grandparents and parents were from here as well. We love the Brainerd Lakes area. We've been supporters of the Brainerd Lakes area, and we continue to have a lot of respect for all of you and in the Brainerd area. So there we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You did great.
Thank you.
Sean, we've got Andrew online. Andrew, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
We're really excited that you're with us tonight. and I don't mean to, put the spotlight on you, but are you representing B&D?
Yes, me and Brian are both on right now. That is correct.
All right, and Brian, would either of you like to give us 3 to 5 minutes about what you guys are doing? Either one of you.
Okay, yeah, sure. Brian, would you like to start off, or would you like me to start off?
Go ahead, Andrew.
Okay. Well, as council knows, we have met with you guys previously, but we are looking to buy 2 parcels of land that was brought up earlier in the meeting. We are looking to help Brainerd utilize that electricity capacity that they have when they're
Andrew?
substation.
Andrew?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you can't actually talk about the proposal, and I apologize for that. I kind of pulled you out of the audience because Steve Clown wanted to talk about just for crypto. But we have to kind of keep this sort of vague, maybe about your company or something like that. Can you talk about that?
Well, the crypto. Yeah, sure. My name is Andrew Bushman. I am a co-partner of B&D Power Solutions. Brian is one of my co-partners. We have a few other co-partners as well, but we help assist large companies looking for electricity. But our goal in doing a lot of this is we try and find unique fits. On my team, you guys have met our other member, Joyce Bushman. She helps us try and locate municipalities with electricity. We always emphasize when we're doing this is to give back to the community. It's one of our big emphasis when it comes to this. My mother, she helped, her name is Joyce, who I just mentioned, but she helped us grow our city down here in Ohio from a 2-lane highway to a 5-lane highway right around Columbus, Ohio. So we have a lot of experience dealing with that. And, we just look forward to working with everyone. We're pretty sincere in what we offer. A lot of my partners, there's a lot of opportunity out there. And we're hoping Brainerd becomes a great fit for everyone. If there's any questions, any specifics on exactly what B&D does, feel free to ask me. But you can kind of look at us as a middleman who represents clients who are looking for locations to set up shop. And one of the leading factors in that is the ability of power.
All right, thanks, Andrew, and thanks, Steve.
All right.
I apologize, Andrew, for having to cut you off. These are things that are in negotiations, and we really probably shouldn't have let either of you speak, but we had members of the board up here that wanted it. So I wish I would have stuck to my guns and not allowed it, but staff requested it, as did a council member. So I apologize if either of you feel slighted. Anybody else in the audience or online that wishes to speak to public forum? I'm going to say no at this point.
I would just like some clarification on what we can talk about and what we can't.
Nothing about the proposals, and I apologize. I learned once. Okay?
Well, let's just go.
I'm sorry, you'll get a chance.
All right, thanks so much.
Anybody else that doesn't want to talk about crypto mining?
One quick note before you leave. Please have a wonderful holiday season, and thank you very much for listening to all of us this evening. Thank you.
Merry Christmas, Ed.
Anybody else who has something they'd like to say? I'm going to close the public hearing at 8 minutes to 10. And we will move on to staff reports. I think we'll start over there with Police Chief Bestel. Thank you. Sean Strong, anything from the IT department? Paul Sandy from Public Works? David Chansky from Community Development?
EDA is holding a special meeting at 7:30 a.m. this Thursday, December 9th, here in the council chambers.
Thank you. Joe Lango from the city attorney, who can tell me what I just did wrong. All right, HR department, Chris Schubert.
Just a quick reminder that we have the senior gift tree downstairs on the second floor. If anyone would like to get a gift tag and to be a senior, or a Santa for a senior, please pick one of those up, and those presents would be back next Monday. If you have questions on it, let me know.
Thank you. Connie Hillman, you're online.
She's
Dad?
sleeping.
I have nothing to report, just getting better every day, so.
What if I let you talk about parking then? Do you have anything to say? All right,
No,
Eric
no.
Charpentier, anything online?
I will just say that BPU got my power back on, so I'm very happy.
Yay.
No.
Okay. And our administrator, Jennifer Bergman.
Two very quick things. I'm working on my performance evaluation. I should have that via Chris. I think that will go to Gabe Johnson as our chair in PNF. And then also just wanted to say a big thank you to the DDBC for hosting the window walk. I had the opportunity to be one of the judges, and it was a lot of fun. And there were a ton of people downtown last Friday night.
Excellent. Mr. Mayor?
Nothing to report.
Ted Erickson?
Thank you, Mr. President, but nothing further.
Mr. Pritchett?
Nada.
Mr. O'Day?
I'll add nothing.
Mr. Stunek?
Great job of plowing. Paul called me Saturday afternoon, wanted to know if I was available to measure the snow. So if he knew, he had to call people out. So thanks, Paul.
Gabe Johnson?
Nothing to add.
I'm going to add nothing as well. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn to the...
Second.
This is to the budget public hearing, December 13th at 6 p.m. in Chambers. We have a motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We